management with money. I mean, in one way, the valuable, it help, promote commerce. But now, from the way Governor Bangu accommodate people who come, the bank actually who side today, they don't fear off completely from the mission. Where, like I say, when they, exercise supervisory power over how, we want to printing of the money, that the responsibility of the bank. That danger for introduce with money there. So, from which I see that the only places that we don't even get we don't get coins there. And let us say get $1 billion there. If the penny, not the Panama money, most the penny comes for that money, that 1 billion, you don't get 1 billion. Because the decimal way for making it add up to that for the 1 billion, that penny will not did it. It don't become $1 billion again. So now the same thing with your money there, where they can call it high figures. Like I say, the governor say, excuse a lot of things that we get for happen. You go to the bank for go get, or you go you get for put on a pillar, or you get for put on a box for the income. You talk about even risks, factors. You talk about all that here. But when you talk about that, it say the figures, the decimal figures, the name will change. But I mean, the coloring is remain the same thing. And from waiting, I don't believe say this one will come. We know here he talk say the current president now we know here he talk that. We don't know if that also will be a factor. He also talk about this helping for facilitate business. I mean, what we try for we align with money, especially now we'll get this regional and economic cooperation. For example, we get ECOWAS. These are one of the core mission of ECOWAS for facilitate trade between people there. And when I go facilitate trade, on money also get of value. That get for the of value for not able for do intertrade with other African countries. Especially within the sub-region, the ECOWAS sub-region. Don't forget, so we also are members of the Mano River Union. We also get other African countries that we did it. So the governor come lay out all this case. But again, they can say, as we know, politics that's everything within a propaganda. Everything. Some people come in the context, the governor, they do this. They try to put a political color in banner. They try to look at massive now campaign business in Japan. So say why all they say this man not do this when are now in the camp. But say this are the things that sometimes we get for also give ourselves time for let we also look at things, not to all the time we look at things from great partisan legs. This is one of the things that we don't have about Salion politics. Everything the opposition they criticize for the sake of criticism. They are not prepared for give anything, any benefit of doubt. They're not prepared for say, well, no, wait and see how this will work. They're not going to come up with what we need for add to this narrative now. They don't believe in that. Everything will come as long as they not drive their own narrow thinking, then they put her in a very negative context. And what they do, they create a climate of unrest. Then they create the embers of discord, and then misinformation and disinformation gets taken to the peak of Mount Everest, all of them. The hope is, by what we hear from the governor, because Mr. Say, in fact, as a matter of fact, I make an audio, from a regular, Salion forum, when they give you issues coming in analysis, I come up with million analysis about the whole thing. I look at, in as much as I see who side it come from, the hope is this not to anything we get a political overtone towards, electioneering campaign. Because, like I said, you find it, they not respect the power of money. Now, I go back to the history of how money in 1964, when they launched out, we all been glad we get 5 news. The 5 news now, the purple color now, we get the penny, we get the 5 cent, we get the 10 cents, we get the 26, when they call quarter. Then we get the 1 pound, we get all the or 1 leon, we get 5 leons, and so we money be very we not be getting to the thousands like what they so when the money they go to that kind of that kind of a denomination, sometimes fundamentally trouble. I think the United States, for the longest time I don't know, I'm not sure say I don't see 1,000 leons. I mean dollars. I'm not say deal or the but I've not seen it. Waiting at the highest way me don't see now $100 I don't see. So that makes stability depending. But as long begin paper they figure the governor said he said that if they only move them 000 now talk. But again, the opposition people they know give the governor time for let it give them the rationale. Why? It just started again. This just reminds me again of what happened in 1964, where we introduced the news and said, waiting the opposition. Oh, and then waiting the government not do that money where one have been get one that be 12 pence. Waiting they happen, but that money they know for every 10 cent or whatever 10, and the government they take 2 cent commodity, then they take 2 cent in their pocket. All of it here. So when it was nothing but blatant lies, misinformation, disinformation, baseless propaganda, because they don't say the people the way they talk to, the people the way fundamentally lacking in capacity for and put things into context and perspective. Anything when they tell you don't want anything, and when they take out, they begin work out. They begin work out. This is the danger. We are in a society where the ignorance system, they pass the people in a way informed, where they can read and write, and where they understand, where they consolidate things into context and perspective for them to see. So we don't need to waste too much time on this, because like I say, the matter don't go through parliament. But I want them to all accept the fact that they within the purview of the governor in rights as governor. It can do that because the law give now I make it on but the only thing the law also tell us if you can't go at the legislature rather than the parliament, let the parliament weigh in, let the parliament give it okay. Waiting the governor do that proposal we need for draw a line between law and proposal. It not go into effect yet, not go yet. The parliament says second look at it, they get 90 days for look up. The day before they look up. They look at all things. When the 90 days on come, they also go reserve the legislative right, for call the governor for go up there at the hill day. You like when they do now, they are saying the four senior officials they for go to Congress for go testify. The parliament can also even go beyond, and then they also look for experts there when a monetary state. People that really get expertise in it, then they really advise them on the benefits, the advantages them, where a medicinal will get, especially in the area of international commerce. How the people that they do business and how this go generate because we need them. Waiting, and then we need to understand we not Salion, we not to an export-oriented economic and system. Everything that import. So all of this also need factors and where the MPs they will get for take into consideration. So where we in a nation where all things, even we million resources there, we don't get ready for process there. We'll get to know the people they can. They say, okay, we'll give them so many percentage. Then they take and they can go. When we want to now be important at exorbitant price. All of this, we also need to be able for Ghana and foreign exchanges, we need to forget that also. That will only happen when we become also an export-oriented market, economy. But as it is, we not import 80% or 90% of what we consume now import to the importer. So these are part of the things that we're responsible for this inflation, high prices, because when they don't come, you when they order it, you get for makeup, you get for making money. So what you do? You raise the price high. They're waiting at the result to hoarding, profiteering, scarcity of goods, because today you don't get enough goods and services from there. So that the hope now is, as I wrap up this part of it, the hope is that the governor intentions are very good, and the hope is they capitalize on the fact that America in the lecture in the Caribbean area, and you see how the Federal Reserve System work, or the Central Bank of America, how the Bank of America they work. Perhaps now that view that you don't get, so it's just one align with your economic management, for the tail, and waiting they happen within the region, the sub-region, and like I say, not forget, so we're a member of ECOWAS, we're actually an economic arm, and we're a member of Mano River Union, and all of them say. So the hope is when Parliament look up, they will look at very seriously. They don't go look at from a partisan lens. They will look at from a nationalistic lens and see how much advantage, because anything we for them at the advantage. Let this be very beneficial, because when it happens, we'll get enough money in the country. Jobs, that we are talking about jobs will get created. So I tell you now, one way to really begin to attract investors then for them also begin the manufacture, because we need for do manufacturing. Nigeria, they do manufacturing. Then they even make Portugal in Nigeria. That goes for Ghana also. They get assembly there, they get plants there. But all this will happen, they will get we'll get forget energy. You get forget technology when they drive all this thing. Because if you don't get energy for that, so the economic progress of the country, the economic advancement of the country, then see how the governor will come in, it go hand in glove with the availability of the technology and when the energy waiting for them order. So if I reach out, I can go to the second part of the podcast. We go talk about this election we just take place in Zambia in general, but in particular, and as by Kuruma in your role in democratic elections. And when I don't do that, I go back to the station, get some nice, musical break. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm not too sure, except the station tell me say yes, then we will take the call we can through. We get some really technical difficulties. So I will advise all the listeners now Unity Broadcasting, when they follow the program, for please send you a comment. The stations will read that to me. If there are questions, then I get the answer, I will give you now, or it will read the comments. So with that, and you can't go back now to the issue number 2, because a lot of forget that 1 hour program, so no will spend too much time to talk on one table like that. And Zambia just won more elections, as you see. The incumbent president, he lost. Where, of course, this now what we already say power is derived from the citizen to the validity of the sanctity of the ballot box. Now the common man where they work can treat. Now you really get the power. We talk about power. Now the common man where they work can treat. Not to you where Sidona Buckingham Palace. You then you're the give that power for exercise. When the common man ready, now he will make you there inside office or go did it. So it happened at Zambia. The president actually he lost, win election. But that's not so, surprising because for Australia, because the citizens, they don't go at the polling stations there. They don't reaffirm the faith in the validity of the sanctity of the ballot box by deciding what they want. Now they call a government for the people, by the people, and existing with the legitimate consent of the people. So that they don't know. But waiting by now, so where unless by Kuruma, go na Zambia, he claims say they appoint him as they represent AU or whatever. All right, I get 2 angles to this argument here. 2 angles. The first angle where I get, waiting at the criteria where they look, waiting at the democratic credentials where AU thinks say, and as Kuruma gets to the point, it gets the gravitas for represent an AU or whatever it is in democratic elections. That nine the thing. They do the due diligence. You can answer that question. How did they appoint anybody? You don't appoint you because you don't need power, you don't need it anymore. If they do all that today, they miss the B and the color. They miss big time. But they don't go to the second part of the argument. The second part of the argument, where now they listen to me and say, you talk for what they did. Issues coming in analysis and the podcast I put out today. And why I don't I will continue for put up. I know the year chance for one because I get for can do podcasting. This will find Unity Broadcasting Platform. Unity Broadcasting Platform. It's this. They go away and the Paikoma, they go na the international president, and now long come for now know how it go there. In wife and Siakoma, he get a sister where he work na ECOWAS when they call Finda Kuruma. Now in and Kuruma, in wife they go through for let it talk to in woman, for let it use in influence because in a device president for ECOWAS. So when they come, we come for African business, you know, then go see how they will for Putale. For these are the reasons why they do so. One, for it gets the gravitas as a statesman, let it get the gravitas, so that there's a caveat to this. The reason for this, by in time for see if he will establish any kind of international gravitas, that will put Mr. Bio in a very funny position where if they will get for go after and they don't go able to most because some of women know the clam of saying for go after and it's by Koroma. The reason is this: the president bring people in the country where he pay plenty money for letting undertake investigations, further investigations, and they don't do this. And they don't do the conclusion, and they don't make the recommendation. So, if they don't do the recommendations, then it only will be fair to the citizens that those recommendations and therefore be implemented, you know, as how go. But now, what's it and it's by Kuruma, they go around for see when if he, you know, presented kind of a persona, he presented kind of a picture, say in a statesman, he believe in it, he wants free and fair democratic elections, that will kind of neutralize President Bio. Some of you will continue for put pressure on President Bio. No. But above all that, they can say this is not the reason. But then when we look at and it's by Kuruma, Ian record, we they go back to Ian record in democracy. Since he take over APC leadership from Mr. Eddie Toure, when I believe I did it, he served as an opposition leader for 10 years in the parliament. He don't serve as president for 11 years in alone. He did it. 30 days, he don't give up the leadership of the party. For sure, how undemocratic or anti-democratic and Kumani, without any constitutional prescription, he sacked a whole vice president and country. And when they decide for take action against them, when the vice president won the ECOWAS court, and it's by Kuruma, take the place with the utmost contempt. A so-called Attorney General Joseph Kamara said, they don't even show up at the place. That will show the depth of contempt where they get from you. And Salion and ECOWAS don't get anything for do with a way company governance of Salion. Okay, fine. If ECOWAS don't get anything for do with that, before I even go to that, any and if Kuruma grab, he get the impedance and troopers for one Gambia for 10 years, Jamaica come up power. As usual, he already put himself up front. He gives the ambience, this persona, this facade. Like in a man, we believe in democracy, he believe in the rule of law, he believe in all that. When on the contrary, when you look at the guy so anti-democratic, it's not even funny. So you don't do all that here. So we now don't know all the Gallivant's way and by Kuruma the Gallivant, the length and breadth, you know, of foreign capitals. If they do one for so that no more, they use it as a cover so that it will save itself, so that President Bio no go after. But again, you don't go blame her because President Bio says that from the circumstances of the beginning, it don't already undermine the effectiveness of waiting to pay people their kubo for can do the commission of inquiry and a day like today now I don't render this guy Francis Benkefala very important. Francis Benkefala can assure anybody he get a winnable case against him by Kuruma. The one when they go indict him, when he will end up like the Zuma, he gets him. But because of the quid pro quo where they between them, this and so now that you see and Kuruma they go up and up, up and up, up and up. For no more like I said, he presents this persona, but he's not a Democrat. If we are not believe, look what will happen now. Even within the very APC, we now all year when he talks, say no court, no go, force him out of office. How a man when we don't be a president, when we are for defend and uphold the Constitution, you go be so disrespectful and dismissive of a judicial system. When the 16th century philosophers and people like Charles II, that man where they call Montesquieu, one of the foremost French jurists then, and John Locke in England, when they say people then 16th century, rulers and they grab too much power, too much power. What they do? They decide for divide the government into three. You get the legislative branch, when again the bank governor get for care paper they go denominate with money back. Then you get the administration outside the president or the prime minister, they get the judiciary, where they all the act as check and balances, then they do that day. Is that from there that they the Magna Carta come on? I don't know who now they read British history, British government or whatever it is, the Magna Carta we come in the 12th century, when they first King John, now that place they call Runnymede, where they used to be forced for go sign NCAA. So with that, we don't get that. So if everything else, this system of governance will get that any society, if the parliament fail, we can live with that. If the administration fail, as how we see where people express, dissatisfaction, they know how they call it, we can live with that. When you don't go fail that any society where anybody not will live with, the third branch of government, where in the judicial aspect of it, where that fail, then we not cease for be a society of laws. When that fail, we not fail for be a society. What you will be a society of hoodlums and a society of outlaws, the jungle farm mentality, the animal farm mentality. For know about the importance and the supremacy of the rule of law, we were fortunate enough for not candidate and then country where don't spend a considerable time under the penumbra of this the culture of this country. See. Now then 2-3 days here, when they follow, the governor of New York, he don't resign. Because if they prepare for first baptism of fire, when that happen, now the rule of law. Now it make that happen. And President Richard Nixon, one of the most powerful people in this country also, on August 9, 1974, he was out of office. What did happen? The rule of law, the court, they challenge him. The court they challenge him. They defeated. They don't fire one shot. So when you live in a society, whether a jungle farm mentality, whether an animal farm mentality, whether free for all society, salute by any stretch of imagination, not to a poor country, but when you look the population within the country, we don't even South Carolina Naya, who side to them, a big person, we never put them in South Carolina, pass the entire side. Okay, and when you consider all the resources over, but say today, 60 years plus after independence, 30 days, even matches when there matches where you want crack for light cigarettes, now import to the importer 30 days. Then you will ask the fundamental question: what thing happened to it? What thing at this year we don't hold the setback? What thing not at the setback we don't hold salary? Now the lack of the rule of observance of the rule of law within the context of the legal system, where they hold people accountable. Because when you don't hold anybody accountable, you don't hold the governors accountable. That are the rulers say, you don't even hold the president accountable, you don't hold a minister accountable, you don't even hold an ambassador accountable, you don't even hold a permanent secretary accountable, you don't even hold that clerk where they open our key or where they open our electricity accountable. Then you guys will see for me a society. But when people are held accountable, people are held to account for the actions. Believe me, you will be a very progressive society. Until we embrace that holding, we all, from the governors and from the leaders and from the presidents and we ministers and we parliamentarians and we ambassadors and we permanent secretaries and we clerks there, we general managers and we directors and we citizens as citizens, we also get for be held accountable for the actions. Like that one, they go begin the court, then cable, the next cable, the way they court, for supply. People like those should be held accountable. Not to only the government, we as citizens, we should be held accountable. Now that make a society. If we talk of a just and egalitarian society, we all therefore play a meaningful role. We therefore contribute to us in nation, in socio-economic, political, a cultural upliftment. We therefore be people of where we actions them. Therefore, dovetail within the confines of the later regulations, the law and order. But for later a place we will not believe in that, we see for me a society of civilized people there, a society of intelligent people there, and a society where I go before. So I'm waiting at Canada. They come ask the station if they get any comments that we don't come, or if they get any question. But before I do that, I go back. We get a small music, nice one. I would say, and the Unity broadcasting don't come up. They use special music, a very melodious one. And they play that. When they play that, they will come back. Then I will ask them if they get comments and then they need to know they'll say follow, because this is an interactive session with people. We're not to me, you're being a presenter, but now all the ground. So now send your comments and will welcome. When I question if God make I will answer them. If I get the answer, I will. Where I not get, I will go do the research. When we come back the next time, I will give that answer. So back to you guys at the studio for small musical break until you come back.
Unity Broadcasting Television don't come for unify, sensitize, and inform Salon people home and abroad. Broadcasting TV don't come. For developments now we country see. Unify, sensitize, and inform we all. For developments now we nation salon. Unity Broadcasting TV don't come. For developments now we country see. Unify, sensitize, and inform we all. For developments now we nation salon. We now independent media house. We dey here for unify, sensitize, and inform. Sierra Leoneans home and abroad.
We dey here so for talk, but wetin dey happen? Political discussion.
You for know about salon politics.
Religious messages, entertainment self no go left again.
We no go left nothing below.
Final part of Kutubu broadcast today, they can pay tribute to the youth center. Well, I don't forget we just don't celebrate youths, day. The youths them in any society, they are the tomorrow leader. So how will they harness them? First, they therefore objectify themselves with the breastplate of integrity, the arm of discipline, and the sort of service and selflessness, so that way, now they therefore prepare for take over from the current crop of leaders. Then. But unfortunately, that side, the politicians, they don't misuse and abuse the youths. Then. You see how they use them, then they put them in the harm's way. Then they send them then they go do this, then they go get involved with violence, lawlessness, thuggery, and all that thing. So, but as God don't make, they don't begin to recognize, you know, the youth. These are the things where the president may talk about, say, empowerment, investing into, you know, in them also. John Ekwe, you talk about, you know, empowering women. That's what they also empower the youth. But we'll do this to make them get a training mindset. Let them first get regards for themselves. Let them self understand, say they're worth something. I mean, waiting the politician and they accept for do. No, it's totally wrong. For giving an example of that, the youth stand at Ghana, where my godpa and the pay tribute to, the politicians they go give them rest, and they give them bad rest. You know, something like that, even as I when election they come here, what they do, then they go begin you na rest there, they do na this there, they do na for Kajo, a lot of when after we don't vote for them, we don't go see them again until the next cycle. But waiting the youth, and they don't now get a sense of awareness. The youth in Ghana that they talk about, they get a sense of awareness, they get a sense of self-respect, they get a sense of who that they be, and they get a sense of the fact that they say something for offer towards the nation of Ghana in advancement. What do they do? They reject the rest there where they give them, they reject them. They say they don't want them. What do they want? They want jobs. I commend them highly for that. They say they want jobs. They don't want it. They don't want for the bread. The humanity pastor, they say want for be able for make a permanent living for themselves. They don't embrace the philosophy. Teach me how for fish, I will feed myself for the rest of my life. That position, they don't desire, they don't take tired for they take handouts from them bad politicians. When they send them, now go do this, now come on and do. When they see like even a McKinney, when they see a day, how man will come on and do? How can you not use them? What not to my leaders and would they do them? But we thank God the youth in Ghana. We tell God thank you, waiting they don't do. They don't come for demonstrate, say. They use humanity, it walk past that day. It walk past bag of rice. And that, they prepare for make sure, say, going forward, nobody not going to use them. Nobody not going to use them again. They will assert, you know, the humanity, the self-respect, the dignity, the worth. And like I say, you do this when you, first of all, you now objectify yourself with the breastplate of integrity, the armor of discipline, and the sort of service and selflessness. And then we all not get for the academic. All of the youth in Asari, we don't get for the grammar school. We get a lot of ways that we contribute to society, even in the area of technical. Now, this country also, as a wrap up, when you go apply for something, for a job, you go there, you say, yeah, you get a PhD. Another person will go there. When you get a certificate in that thing, but you get the technical expertise. They will hire them quick before you. For example, then they hire plumbers that are quick. They will hire welders, and people that really do welding very quick. They will hire people that are bricklayers and very quick. You know, things the way they do the check, they're not to alter, they go sit down, you're the right here, no. We don't dare now the kind of age, we don't dare now this age of technology, this age of advancement, where your productivity then, what you produce, you know, and then manually, what you physical, how they produce the result. Not so, I mean, the people are not they move away from, you know, the concept of people like Plato, the concept, people like Aristotle, the concept, people like, you know, all of this kind of Einstein, and say, now that the practicality of things, and then they look at, see where they move any nation from the boulevard of progress to the avenue of success, then they look for. And so it means the technical aspect of any nation in building for that nation will be very important. Now, we, Nasarion, I don't know that the colonial mentality that are free to where you go to technical school, you do welding, you do plumbing, people they look at you don't go no way, you don't start, you know, There we not him go before. They fail for, but in a society like this, Lord have mercy. Now they say God continue for bless America. The workforce inside America, yeah. Now the technical aspect of the workforce now will pass the one where they push pen and paper. The one they where they do actually where they technically where they deliver. For example, you for sure the importance of that. If I there and almost say the house floor, the basement floor there, I know they go look for that man will go study in the University of Heaven, where get PhD, where get to go by exam, not what they go look for. The first Spanish man where I see the partner teeth. Now I run for go grab for like can't help me. For look, can't try for save the basement. They try help me get our attack body. So what is saying anybody? Everybody, get something for offer to us in nature, socio-economic, political, cultural emancipation. When they can't come to go before. We all cannot be medical doctors. We all cannot be lawyers. We all cannot be everything. We get different spheres of life. So it's only good, and it will be helpful if we all with the political class, harness their resources and it, harness them with spending it. So all will be a very good, system. So as down the wrap up now, let's just again briefly recap. The governor, like we come up with an announcement where I talk say they denominate. Then they give another way of how we will look with money. Then they try for bring down a line, with the international monetary, community, especially the ECOWAS, we will remember Mano River Union and other places, and they, bring the money to size. So you able to put on now your wallet and all that they are supposed to decay in a box or pillar case for who put money down and really disgraceful and awful. So then perhaps the government also get in mind, they want to bring the money to waiting. We didn't get what you see 1964 that they kind of in line with what they happen in other African countries. So the hope is the parliament will look at not from a political lens, not from the lens the government is here for election purposes, but for nationalistic reasons. We hope so that will happen. And also they can say this go where we see and by Kuruma the Galiban, the length and breadth of the university, the open election purpose now for selfish reasons, them it is done as a cover, just so that no more it will gain the international community their sympathy, so that the citizens of Salino will for dump them for email for hold and for lay account for everything where it criminally plundered the country. Luckily, God don't make we don't know, so we'll continue for the exposure. And then finally, the youths in Ghana, they don't decide for step up. The youths in Ghana, they don't decide say no more. They don't get enough of the politicians. Then the politicians they don't use them anymore, and that then in fact get waiting it take for Ghana go before, and that's exactly what they do. They get waiting it take for Ghana go before, and then their lives, the humanity, their self-worth, their self-dignity, a big pass a bag of rice when they give them. They don't resolve say no politician don't go buy them. They go buy them anymore. They don't get tired of this. Can't give them nearly rest now. Give them 500 Leosiana, or give them 1,000 Ghana Cedi, or give them 100 Nigerian Kobo. No, it's not going to work anymore. It's not going to work. It is now a new narrative. It's not a new transformation. The 21st century technology, we don't count the 21st century advancement, don't count. It don't put into focus a perspective, and people a sense of direction, a sense of balance, a sense of defined mission, a sense of purpose. They don't come. So, like I said, I again apologize to now because today, because of technical difficulties, you guys will not get the opportunity and the privilege, for also calling and participate. And the station not give me feedback as to whether, what's down the comments there, whether the question about the hope is by God in power we will overcome this difficulty there. Next week, we will be part and parcel of the discussions, and because like we say, an interactive session. We need also input. And with participation one night, it will help promote and advance unity broadcasting to the heights of Mount Everest. Like I said, he knew, he's very committed, but with that support, with that steadfastness, the resolve. This is like a family place. We discuss the issues there. We agree for disagree, but in ways where we will therefore come back and talk to ourselves. We will never come here as enemies. We don't come as foes and all that. Yes, we have political opinions there, they're various as we face them. We know two people, they don't get the same face. We get divergent opinions there. But at the end of the day, we come on call now, what to go do for Hepsadon. That's now one of the things that we unity broadcasting, therefore, for also can get involved in raising awareness, talking the issues. And unity broadcasting don't here say, oh, they can't promote agenda, political agenda, or get caught up in propaganda. No. The unity broadcasting, it present the issues there. I mean, get different issues. Mio remit now for can talk about political history in the context of how things they go, and Mio, Dandy, and I want unity broadcasting thank you for the honor and privilege when they give me for coming to share the young and so until next
announce Attila will be live on here on Sunday.
Before I go, I want to remind us one of we formidable presenters, Mr. Attila.
Tomorrow and Sunday live.
He go there on the air tomorrow. As well as Sunday by God in power. What kind of unity what una go yam. Una no say una go yeri when they come for do a presentation. Una no say Mr. Attila na a terrific presenter. As a matter of fact, to be in our viewers television. And a man is again very strong views them. And he can stand very much. So we are not forget for make sure say I really be listening at the same time where I come now. He said, "We'll come up. Whatever I happen, when I go just when the notification anyway will come out, when I go click the like button, I'll see them. Then I go see them inside the camp from the WhatsApp group then, as well as with YouTube because we need YouTube now also. And my God partner, so the thing expand. And shortly, who knows? We can't even go Twitter as we get the followers and so will expand. So again, like I see, you guys have been a very good audience, although I'm not being here for that today because of the technical difficulties. And in case I apologize for that, but by God power, this matter will fix. So by the way, Attila the Countryman said this matter will not be fixed. So now also will be part of the interactive discussion with them. We will give our views, comments, and all that today. But in my own case, until I come back next week, this is Kutubu Koman. Say I love you all guys, I love you all, and I want to thank you very sincerely. From the very deep roots of my humble being, and I pray God say, let God continue for serve as your refuge and strength and protect you now, especially from this new corona will come. Until then, you guys should have a very blessed day.
Unity Broadcasting Television don't come for unify, sensitize, and